What's up, everybody? So today I'm going to talk a little bit about competition, well, kettlebell competition, number one, but competition in general. There's really not anything different. So competition is competition. Exercise, fitness is not competition, and competition is not fitness. So when we see a lot of people, it's one of the biggest reasons that I'm not into CrossFit myself. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But myself personally, why I don't do CrossFit as my exercise or my style of exercise program is because I take things and push them. So that means if I see people while I'm training to get better, I'm going to push myself and I'm going to use that as a drive. Now, for a lot of people, that's okay. But for me, I will push myself to the limit every single time. That's not good. My body and my mind, it knows that it is not good for me, that I will push things and push and push and push. So it's a little bit better for me to do this type of training. That being said, when people are getting into fitness, competition isn't about health, just like bodybuilding. It's not about health. You can do some healthy things to get there, but in the end, you're pushing boundaries of your body and your mental capacity to do stuff. So let's say kettlebell competition. And here's where I'm at, and a lot of members at our gym and a lot of people that I work with online throughout the world, they ask me for competition help. How do I get there with kettlebells? And I love it. It's incredibly fun. It's kettlebell gear boy sport, kettlebell lifting competition, sport lifting is super fun. It's not just how strong you are. It's not just how good your cardio, respiratory, vascular conditioning is. It's everything. It's focus. It's recovery. It is your nutrition leading up to, during the meet, all sorts of stuff. You could say the same for powerlifting, but kettlebell sport is based on high repetitions. You are getting judged for every single repetition. And the goal is, basically, back to CrossFit, for as many people that will understand this, is AMRAP for a certain period of time. So let's just say traditional kettlebell sport, AMRAP for 10 minutes, one hand switch. Or if it's double jerk, it's 2. But still, AMRAP for 10 minutes without setting the kettlebell down. And here's where a lot of people they get lost in this. So there's ranking systems and stuff. People think that my form is really, really good, and that's what I pride myself in. I want to teach you and people the best possible form that I can do. Now, notice I didn't say the best possible form there is, because I'm not built to be a kettlebell sport athlete, just like I'm not built to be an NBA basketball player. Now, you could say I'm going to be physically, I can do anything in the world. You could grow up to be this. Well, I don't know physically if I can grow up another foot to be a center in the NBA, okay? I could possibly play basketball, but you got to be realistic with certain things. So kettlebell sport, I am not built. I don't have the hands to be an incredibly good kettlebell snatcher. I don't have the rack position. I mean, look how I'm built to be a kettlebell resting in a rack position. So it looks very, very different. But I have to use my strengths to overcome certain weaknesses. And I try to turn weaknesses into strength. But at the same time, that I'm never going to be, I can be very flexible, but I'm not going to be, I can't shorten my torso to get my elbows anywhere near my hips, which are, and my shoulders are out here. So if I spent 25 years of my life doing what I do and turning my body into what it is right now, it's going to take a really long time to reverse that. And it's not something I'm willing to do because I like the mobility, the flexibility, the strength, the injury prevention of the stuff that I've done to build what I am. Anyway, back to kettlebell competition. One of the toughest things about competing, especially nowadays, in this age of social media, is self-doubt, okay? So I get it, you get it, we all get it. I'm okay talking about it. A lot of people can't. They say, I can do anything. I talk about self-doubt because it's something that's there all the time. I know I'm confident that I'm good with kettlebells. I'm confident that I will do well in competition. One time I was confident I was going to do well in competition, and I was out there performing and showing really good friends that I had only met in person, from the internet. Great friend. Actually, here's a good one. Person I talk to almost every day. Levi Marquardt of Levi's Harder to Kill training out in Iowa. They came to the Arnold for their first time, and I was up there getting ready to get back into a set of double 24 long cycle. I literally was at great pace, literally at minute 6 or so, 6.5. I almost blacked out from something, and the energy just went away. Now I kept thinking, I want to show these people how, what they expect to see. And it just couldn't do it. So I just stopped my set. And from that point, got sick for 3 weeks. So anyway, I have this love-hate relationship with this time of year and going to the Arnold to compete with kettlebells in Cincinnati. Right now, I've gotten more drainage out of my sinuses that could probably fill the Ohio River. But anyway, this self-doubt thing, we all have it. It's so hard to do, but why is it so much worse anymore? I'll tell you why. We're not just comparing where we were or ourselves and the people that are close to us, say in a training studio or in your jiu-jitsu or judo place, training center. We see online people's best efforts constantly. You look at a profile picture of someone, you look at mine. I'm sure I have a kettlebell sport competition one where I was in the best shape. I was the strongest. I was in the best condition. I probably look really, really, leaner or something like that. And I see that and it's like, oh, well, that's what you're judging yourself on. So you're like, I'm not that way right now. You have 8 more weeks before competition, but you're still remembering the best. But also, not just of yourself, you see other people, thousands everywhere, world-class athletes, people that are just getting into competing that are just so good. Maybe they are the natural, what people think. Also, another thing is people don't talk about, speaking of natural, there's people that are taking performance-enhancing substances. There's people that don't have to work 2 jobs every day to take care of their family and do the thing that they love, the hobby that they love. There are people that have it easier than you. But that self-doubt keeps popping into our minds that we're not as good, or maybe we're not as good as them because we're seeing all that filtered perfection. So that's what social media is, especially in sports. And okay, let's get into this, in fashion, into clothing, all these influencers and stuff like that people are taking their best. And it's like, before it used to be a picture. Well, now it's a person's lifestyle. You see 2 weeks of this person that their best that they've compiled and they've got to, and they've made for different things, and maybe they're showing all their videos. Excuse me. You're following them around 24/7. That's what people do. It's our life anymore. We started with reality TV, which was totally scripted, right? But now we have all this stuff, and it's still scripted. But you're seeing people all the time at their best, and that leaks all this self-doubt all the time. So what can you do if you're getting ready to compete, or if you're getting ready to do something you're just now getting into that, your friends are doing or something like that? You just try not to compare yourself so much against them. I look all the time at this kettlebell down here, right there, 28 kilograms. 4 years ago, I did best in competition. And every time I picked it up after that, it just wasn't happening. I don't know. It just wasn't happening. And so every time I picked it up, I was like, wow, I'm not as good as I used to be, or I'm not this, or maybe I'm too busy or stressed or things like that, all these things. But it was doubt. Like, I doubt I'll ever get back to that. And you know what? I stopped thinking about that, and I just started focusing on what I could control. I could control the things, all these variables in my training, and do the best that I could when it came to unexpected variables in life. And I know I've had plenty of those. A lot of you have had too. The best that we can do is the best that we can do in our environment, in that situation, and stop comparing so much about the past, because that can help drive us, but it can also really, really ruin our focus too. Because if you're thinking about the past all the time, you're doubting, it's creating that doubt. So let's just forget about it as much as we can. You're competing. You're going to do the best you can in this instant. Surround yourself with people that are supportive. Surround yourself with coaches that understand that, yeah, you're going to have bad days a lot. You could have bad days. You could have a back-to-back bad days. You might have bad weeks, things like that. You might get sick. You might have whatever, you sprained your ankle or something like that, doing a mud run, all these things. But all we can do is let's stop comparing the social media aspect. Maybe instead of having a profile picture of your best lift or your best physique or something, maybe you have something that you put there that you see all the time that helps motivate you instead of that. Instead of creating that, like, I don't know if I can replicate that or even be better. And you know what? That's okay. That's fine. At some point, you will reach a peak. Maybe not Dennis and Sonny in Philadelphia, because he thinks he's never going to peak. Well, anyway, funny inside joke there, if you like Sonny in Philadelphia. Excuse me. But self-doubt and competition goes hand in hand. There are so many different variables, but we're just going to talk about that. Biggest thing is you're going to do the best you can in that instance with what you have. Try to create your environment of things that aren't going to increase that doubt. Just if it's nutrition, if it's stress management, if it's focusing, if it's breathing, if it's visualization, all these things, these are just as important as lifting this, club or whatever you're doing, stretching a million times just to, feel better, loosen up the shoulder. At some point, you might get an injury and you may never have the range of motion that you did in 2005. And so somehow you just can't be stuck and fixated on that. So let's do the best. Maybe you should write down some things that can help decrease your self-doubt. Maybe you could do some visualization exercises and write things down that can help increase your focus, your meditation, or whatever you want to call it. Write these things down and place them in different spots that can help you, whether it's at your gym or whether it's on your phone, or maybe it's just a self-check alarm on your phone, and not just, maybe it's with food and stuff like that. Maybe it's with your nutrition. But anyway, competition's fun if you allow it to be fun. Doubting constantly is, and I get this way too, I just want to be so good and helpful for other people that sometimes it takes me so much longer than it needs to write, let's say, a workout or a program or something, because I constantly go over and over because I think people expect such a high level. But you know what? I just gotta tell myself, I'm human and I'm gonna do the best that I can. And, I think it's done pretty well over these last decade and a half of working with people, know people pretty well. But also from what I've done a lot is a lot of self-inspection and visualization and work. I know myself really, really well. And I'm okay to come with terms and say, hey, I'm strong enough. Hey, that's good enough. If I never do anything more in a competition, that's fine. I'm going to go out and do it because I enjoy it. And a lot of people lose this. They lose why they're doing this. Like, it's not just health anymore. This should be fun. You should go hiking because you enjoy hiking, not just because someone's forcing you to hike. Enjoy nature and stuff like that. But same thing with exercise. Are you doing it because you enjoy it? Are you doing it because it's something you feel you have to? Because sometimes when that gets there, you get stuck. You get stuck, and it's not a good stuck. It's a bad stuck. You get stuck in a loop of all sorts of things, and then it's not fun. We should try to do things that are enjoyable, that help us. Food, nutrition. It should be enjoyable to be able to cook, not frustrated that you counted almonds incorrectly. But anyway, competition, self-doubt, it's all over. You can do the same thing. Unfortunately, you're competing against other people for your jobs, right? So life's a competition. This is how we've set it up, at least where I live, in the culture that I'm at. Everything is, but I'd like to be able to change a little bit of that. I'd like to be able to have people that work together, that help each other, people that understand, what other people might be facing, and help them, make it a little easier on others. So anyway, competition, self-doubt. Also, we're going to do some of these videos, some of these live chats, and some of these Q&As where